and welcome to Good Grief, the podcast dedicated to demystifying and destigmatizing grief with compassion and humor. I'm Nikki. I'm an end-of-life doula and a grief coach in Columbus, Ohio. And today I have another great guest episode today. I had such a fun conversation with Wize. Will Otero, goes by Wize, W-I-Z-E. You can learn all about him in the interview to come. I always hate to, spoil things, so to speak. And he has such an amazing story to share. But Will is just a fantastic person and a fellow podcaster with his podcast, Stuck in My Mind. Will had his own journey with grief, and like so many other people I have on this show, instead of choosing to let it pull him down, he chose to let it lift him up and to help others in the process. So again, I'm not going to say anymore. I will let Will share his story. Before we dive into that, as usual, I want to remind you that you can help support me and this show by going to patreon.com/Nikki the Death Doula. The money I receive from Patreon, I do use in a special fund to help provide pro bono support within the community. And to people who might not be able to otherwise pay for my services. And I do have, as of time of recording, I have 2 people I'm working with on a very limited basis, pro bono. I would love to be able to devote more hours to things like that, but I need your support for that. So if you go to patreon.com/Nikki the Death Doula, for as little as $1 a month, you can support. If you sign up during season 7 at $10 a month or more, I will send you one of these journals with my logo on it and maybe a sticker or 2 for your water bottle or to go stick on his telephone pole somewhere. Wait, that's probably defacing public property. Maybe don't do that, or don't say I said it was okay. Anyway, so if you want any of those great goodies, again, patreon.com/Nikki the Death Doula, but enough of that. That's not why you're here. Let's get into my beautiful conversation with Will Otero. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming back for another amazing episode of Good Grief with Nikki the Death Doula. I have another fantastic guest with me today that I'm super excited to chat with, Will Otero. Is it Otero? Did I say it right?
Correct. Yes, you did.
Awesome. Will, thank you so much for being here today. I like to let my guests introduce themselves because I could read your bio, but that's no fun. I want you to say it in your words. So tell my guests a little bit about you and what you do in the world.
It's funny because by day I am a dual pit boss at a casino, and by night I'm a podcaster, podcast producer, coach, and yeah. So I'm I I have an exciting little world I'm in right now. So I love it.
It sounds like it. I've not spent much time in casinos, so I don't know what that's like.
Good thing. It's a good thing. It's absolutely a good thing that you don't spend much time in that, but
Yeah.
pays the bills, and then of course I get to do my podcast and
Mhm.
create content and have some great conversations. So mm, can't complain.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. Cool. So, you mentioned you're a podcaster. Wow, Nikki, public speaker, producer, and you say in your bio that you dedicate your life and your work to helping people turn pain into purpose. So tell us a little bit about what that means. What does that look like?
Oh man, so it has to begin with May 1st, 2008. I get an unexpected knock on my door, and when I come open the door, is a young young lady. She's a police officer knocking at the door, and she tells me, "Does Denise Otero live here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she does." And she goes, "Are you her husband?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And she proceeds to tell me that my wife had passed away in a car accident. And so that was just devastating because this is the one woman I had been with since I was 21 years old. I had spent the beginning of my adult life with, growing up and just learning so much from her because she was a couple of years older, but she introduced me to the world of self development and all these other different things. And so when I got that news, it was just it was devastating. I had lost,
Yeah.
um, and so yeah, she had 2 children from previous relationship, and so since I wasn't biologically their father, they had to go with their grandmother. So that right there, I instantly lost my
Oh,
family and everything. And so I kind of just started spiraling and just drinking a lot and just trying to drink the pain away. And
yeah.
and so that first year was just rough. It's just been it was a blaze. It was just I didn't I just didn't want to remember anything. Like everything was taken away. Like you have your family at one point, and then next thing you know, everything's just gone, and you're by yourself. And so yeah, so I sought comfort in alcohol and just not caring anymore. I lost my
Mhm.
job,
Oh,
just headed down a very bad path. And so a year later, I I kind of I got myself together somewhat and attended my mother's 70th birthday in Puerto Rico, and so I was living in Florida when everything happened, and so I went to Puerto Rico to celebrate my mother's 50th, 70th birthday, and so I end up going to Puerto Rico, and when I'm there, I speak to my brother and decide that I'm gonna go back to New York with him to try to get my life back together again and try to get everything back to normal somewhat. And I have yeah, and it was a time I needed to get back with my family and everything, and kind of process that where my life was going and everything. So I go back to New York with my brother. At this point, I'm crashing on a air mattress on his living room floor and everything, and I'm not working yet. And I receive a, a message from Facebook from another sibling of mine, but she was a sibling from part of from my dad's side, and I hadn't seen my dad in 28 years. And so she found me through Facebook. She messaged me and she invited me back to Puerto Rico for that Father's Day weekend as a surprise and as a gift for my father because I hadn't seen my sister in over 28 years. And so I go back. I reach out to her. I send her a message. I tell her, yes, it's me. I'm the one you're looking for. And we exchange numbers. And the next morning she calls me and I speak to her and we just have a nice conversation. And she gives me the phone number to where I can contact my father and I call him and we speak a little bit. And so I decided to go back to Puerto Rico in June of 2009, and I reunite with my dad. I arrive Friday night. We speak. I forgive him and everything and all that. And I actually go out with my brother, my younger brother, who I had never met, and we go out, shoot pool, have some drinks, and have some food, and just get away. And the next morning, we arrived to my sister calling us to tell us to hurry up to get back to my father's house because he had passed away in the
oh
sleep.
no.
So it was just and it was just it was a crazy span of probably 5 years where I lost a lot of people. Like I said, I lost my wife. The next year, I lost my dad, and then the next 3 years, I lose my uncle, my two of my brothers, and an aunt that are like they played real big roles in the man
Yeah.
that I'm becoming. And it was just I became angry. I was like, why? Why is this happening to me? Why is all this?
Yeah.
You taking all these people away from me? What am I such a bad person that you're punishing me? And
Mm.
and I just started spiraling. I really was drinking more and didn't really care about anything. And then one day, this voice, this says, "This isn't your path. This isn't your life. This isn't what you're supposed to be doing."
Yeah.
And so I go, I seek help, start turning my life around, seek therapy, and just start piecing back my life together. And And now I go from around, moving on from sleeping on friends' couches and wherever I can to actually getting an apartment with my mother and sister who moved back from Puerto Rico and my brother and just getting myself back together and getting my life turned around. And
Yeah.
so I started doing all these things and this is around now 2012, 2013. A friend of mine says, "Hey, she says, let's put you a profile on Match.com and see what happens." And I happened to meet my wife that I'm with now, and start turning. And even that was even a bigger step, and really started turning my life around and just up my whole family, and we relocated them to Pennsylvania, and I started coming up, and I came up here to Pennsylvania to be with her because she had reignited something in me and started helping me back to getting back to some kind of normal life and turning and just turning my life around and so I applied while I was up here. I applied to the casino and I ended up starting as security and then just as years went by, just progressed into the position that I'm in now. But it it, it just once I decided to make that shift from I didn't want to be angry anymore and didn't want to be self-destructive and started seeking therapy and started opening myself up, things started happening in the
Yeah.
right way. I met my wife that I'm with now. We've been together 13 years, 11 years now, 12 years now. And she's helped me grow and change and she's been very supportive of all the things that I'm doing, especially with at 40 something years old, decide to launch a podcast and and she sees that I'm very dedicated to it and I'm really working on it and she says, okay, what can we do to make this something that's profitable or whatever it is, what can we
Yeah.
do to make this something that's sustainable? And so she helped me build the LLC to get the podcast and all these other different things. And so she's been very, very supportive in this journey and helping me discover my voice and discover because podcasting wasn't something that wasn't in media, wasn't something
Hmm.
I was a professional in anything. It was just something I wanted to do. I had purchased a little $160 podcasting equipment from Amazon.
Hmm.
And when I got furloughed from work during the pandemic, I just decided to stop listening to the voices in my head that was telling me you can't do it.
Yeah.
Who's going to want to listen to you? Don't nobody want to hear your story.
Hmm.
And finally just press record and stuck my mind was born. It gave me something where now, all right, once I released the first episode, it was like easy now. Now I'm like
Yeah.
going out and just recording more and more and more. And so when at first it was hard because I didn't know anything about podcasting. I didn't know about RSS
Me
feeds.
neither. Me neither.
I didn't know about subscribers, thumbnails, descriptions, any of that. I was just recording and uploading it to
Yep.
an account that I had created on Podbean a year before that I completely forgot. And once I started doing it and I found my voice, I started connecting with people and they started to introduce me to other people and I went from no one wanting to be on my podcast because I didn't have listeners or anything to now I'm receiving emails constantly. Hey, heard this such and such episode. I would love to be a guest on your show. And it's just been great to experience all this and be able to share my story and come in. And now I create a platform for others to come on and share their stories and share their experiences that could be beneficial to anyone out there who might need to hear something at a certain point.
Yeah. Ah, That's wow. First of all, thank you for sharing all of that. Like you were really kind of put through the ringer there to say the very least.
Yeah, no, it was it was difficult, yes.
Hmm.
And like I said, at one point I was upset with God. I was
Well,
just
sure.
you why you hate. But then I began to realize that like he wouldn't put me in a situation if he didn't think I could handle it or I could overcome it or whatever it is. And so
Right.
for me, it was a test, and at one point I was feeling it, and so when I realized that it was time for me to really turn it around and get back to what was most important, and that was discovering who I was and
Hmm.
being able to share my story to let other people know, like regardless of whatever you're going through in life,
Yeah.
turn it around.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, I love a good comeback story. I always feel terrible that anybody has to go through the amount of losses you did and suffer the type of losses you have, but to utilize that to push to propel you forward. Somebody, I had another guest who said, "Let your grief be your fuel." And I love that. I love that saying because you have two choices with grief. You can let it consume you or you can let it propel you forward.
I don't know, and it's it prepared me for one of the biggest losses, which just happened a couple of years ago. My mom, who raised me, um, and did a wonderful job. She provided me with everything I needed. Had been battling dementia and Alzheimer's for a few years, so it kind of all everything that I went through kind of prepared me for when this started this battle with her,
Yeah.
and so it was it was crazy because that was like one of the best years for my podcast. That and
Hmm.
it was one of the years that it really kind of took off and listenership went up and I wasn't able really to enjoy it because I was
Sure.
dealing with whatever whatever the situation with her it was and it was just like I was podcasting helped me and in a way because it helped me escape the reality of going to have to see her going from this beautiful strong woman to a shell of herself.
Hmm.
And so it especially everything I had gone through and now being in this podcasting space and building the relationships with people that knew my situation and were there to support me and have my back compared to previous times where I felt alone. I didn't feel that now because I had made so many wonderful connections
Hmm.
online and through podcasting and relationships that I've built over the last few years. I didn't have that feeling this time around. Now this time around, I have felt the support. I felt the love from everyone, from even from work and from like I said, the relationships I built in podcasting and everything. So it was easier. This I guess it was easier for me this time around now to
Hmm.
do a major loss than it was back then.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing about starting your podcast too. It sounds very much like me. I had no idea what I was doing. I just was passionate about the subject matter and I just wanted to get it out in the world. And it sounds like that was very similar to you too. So tell us a little bit a little bit about your podcast. Like what do you, I'm assuming you do interviews then you have guests on. Is it similar to this where they're sharing stories of
No, it doesn't necessarily deal with grief, so I applaud you for that. But
okay.
it deals more with self development and growth
Okay.
and everything because that was something that Denise, my first wife, kind of and I think what when she put me on that path was for a reason, even though I had gone through those dark times. It was her putting me on that path and learning those lessons and those teachings from those books
Mhm.
that she introduced to my life. That kind of when the time came was what I was leaning on to help me escape whatever I was going through.
Mhm.
So so to be able to talk about self development and growth
Yeah.
and have coaches come on and have entrepreneurs come on and share their stories and share their information. I think it's important because it's something that a lot of us don't know about. It's
Yeah.
not something we're taught. Oh, you need to go to school, get an education, do this, but you're not really taught the values of really truly self development. Of
Right.
even you like you just want to learn book smarts, but you need to learn how to be learn about yourself and more,
Yeah.
more spiritual and learn who you truly are to become who you're truly to be meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. There's like if we were taught everything we needed to know for life, we would do nothing but school for the first 20 years of our life. So I know it's impossible, but like I that's part of my you know passion behind this show is that we're not as a society, at least in most Western cultures, we don't deal with death, dying, and grief very well. And we don't talk about it. It's one of those things that's whispered about and we don't talk openly. So when we are faced with losses, especially if you've had, so many losses like you have, like we're not since we don't talk about it, we don't have anything to base it off of and we don't know what the heck to do with ourselves. And then we lean on things we see in TV and movies, which is we know is very incorrect. And so we feel like we're doing it wrong or we're crazy or weird because we're not grieving the right way. And there's no right way to grieve.
I know, and that's one thing that I've people just and it's crazy because I know sometimes people don't they just want they mean well, right? They
Sure.
mean
Oh yeah.
they always and there's just certain things that sometimes that people say is just like oh they're like one of the key words was oh they're in a better place like at that point in time that's not something I want to hear.
Right. That's yeah. Mm-mm.
But
The better place should be here with me, not somewhere else.
yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes you learn this because now that's not because I remember myself even like saying that to people, but after it happened to me, I realized like that's so inconsiderate of me to even say something like that,
Yeah.
right? So it made me realize when I deal with other people and their grief on what really truly to say. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, there's nothing you can say really.
Mm-mm.
You're not in that person's shoes. You can
Yeah.
you know what you've experienced,
Right.
but you truly don't know what that person is going through because you don't know what that person meant to them and everything. So there's
Yeah.
nothing you can all you can really truly do be is like, listen, need anyone to talk to? I'm here.
Yep.
You need to vent.
Mm-hmm.
I truly don't know what you're going through. But if you need to
Yeah.
vent, I'm here. And
Yes.
that's all you really want to hear. You're like, thank you.
Yes. Thank you. I say that all the time. When people call me and ask me, they're like, somebody in my life just lost their mom, or they're saying, but I want to help, but I don't know what to say. What do I say? I'm like, you don't have to say anything.
I'm
There's,
here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's no magic word that's going to make their hurt stop. Just see their hurt and recognize their hurt. Like that's the
Mhm.
most powerful gift you could give.
That's something I talk like. What can I do? There's nothing you can do.
Right.
All you can do is just be there.
Yeah.
Be there and just listen like that.
Yeah.
They have to speak, or just not just be there
Yeah.
to cry with them.
Mm.
Whatever it is they need. That's all of it. And I get it. People who truly want to be helpful. And
Yeah.
like I said, it took me going through my experiences to realize that okay, yeah, maybe this is how I need to word things or
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, we want to fix things. We're fixers. We want to make things better, and you can't fix this, and the sooner we realize you can't fix somebody else's grief, the better off it is. Just because they're not broken.
No, they're
You know?
not. Just let them grieve.
Yeah.
They'll find their way. And for me, it was I went through the struggles I went through. I had that was my path. That was
Hmm.
my journey. That was my part of my story that I had to experience to get to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And I could have easily just let it engulf me and take me down and keep me down.
Yeah.
That's not what that's not how I'm built, and that's not what anyone who knows me I just can't. I just can't let that be because I know, first of all, that's not how my mom raised me
Right.
to give up. So I would be tarnishing her legacy by just giving up. And then I know Denise, the fighter she was, and the reason she introduced me to these into the world of self development and all these other things was because she was preparing me for whatever was to come.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that you mentioned you legacy, like that you would break that legacy of your mom. And do you feel like you're paying honor to the people you've like your mom, your first wife and all that by propelling yourself forward and doing this show and helping other people?
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
I know the kind of person my mom was. Like anytime someone needed somewhere, someplace to crash, there was always
Hmm.
someone sleeping on my couch. And like if one of her relatives was making the transition from Puerto Rico to the United States,
Hmm.
her house was the first stop. Like
Hmm.
where they stood at, this is where they got on their feet, and then they would move on. And so seeing that her house was open to anyone
Yeah.
and anyone in need, or if they needed somewhere to crash, her house.
Hmm.
So that showed me that we're here to help, like
Yeah.
regardless of whatever the situation. And if you're able to help, then and so by me building this platform and giving people
Hmm.
a space to where they can express themselves, they can tell their stories, they can share
Yeah.
the knowledge, and me being able to share it with others now. Because there was a point where I felt kind of selfish because I was enjoying these conversations so much.
Me too. Me too.
I was enjoying them so much that I felt
Uh-huh.
kind of like, oh man, there's something like, and I had a guest point out like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to grow in self
Yeah.
development. Nothing wrong with you wanting to become a better person. And the
Hmm.
fact that you're sharing your content with other people and
Yeah.
you created this wonderful platform where they get to share their stories. There's nothing selfish about that.
Mm-mm.
You're getting so
Yeah.
much, you're getting so much, but you're also giving a lot because you
Yeah.
don't know who needs to listen to, who needs to hear these episodes, who needs to listen to anything that any of us are saying. But there's someone that might resonate with with what I've experienced.
Hmm.
So it might be like, so for me, it's important to be able to share my story. And then at first, I was a little hesitant to share my story,
Sure.
but then when I realized like the importance of me sharing it and me telling people like, listen, yeah, I've been down,
Yeah.
but there's no choice. There's no reason for me to stay down.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. So, let's look into the future a little bit. What could somebody in your life or the world or somebody do to honor your legacy?
Oh man,
I know I'm throwing the hard ones at you.
that's a good one. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh man, just continue to do. But if I inspire anyone to do whatever it is that they dream or see themselves capable, like I didn't imagine I would be able to be doing this when I started 5 years ago. It was like yeah, if you would have told me I've built a successful podcast and I've built some great relationships and
Yeah.
nah, but being able to leave something from my grandson and both my grandsons and my granddaughters to be able to say, hey, that's my pop. He did that. He's look at he and one of my grandsons, Bryson, he's been a part of my podcast a couple of times because
Oh, fun.
yeah, he's walked in on a couple episodes and he's been on screen. And there was a situation where I'm recording the episode and we're having a great conversation, and then all my whole system shuts down. Cameras,
Oh no.
my mixer, everything. And I look down, and then I look, and I have this beautiful little face looking up at me, and he's like, "Hey, Pop." He had seen the light under my desk and decided to press the switch, and he just cut off everything.
Whoops.
And I laughed. It was funny, and it was great. It was amazing. It was great because my guest was a fellow podcaster, so
Yeah.
knew what to do. So they kept the show going, and I was able to
Yeah.
get back on and laugh about it. And And so it's those moments that I cherish, and hopefully they're proud of the stuff that I'm creating and the content that I'm putting out.
Awesome. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. So I have one last question for you, but it's not my question. I have a little tradition in my on my podcast where I pull a random card from the death deck,
Okay.
and these are just conversation starter questions all about death and dying.
Oh,
So, um, you'll answer it and then I will answer it too. Fair's fair. So, this is a good one. Um, you get to relive one day in your life one more time before you die. Which day would that be? I
okay.
know, picking just one. Ah,
And then I don't know because there's still some amazing days to come. So, oh man. Okay, so this is a recent one. So the week that my mom passed away, we were in the hospital, and it was one of those moments that she was very lucid and aware and everything. And I say something I say something to her in Spanish, which translates to like you're doing you're how you doing, how you feeling, and she goes, I'm feeling. It's funnier in Spanish,
okay.
but she said something, and she said it in a way because she knew she was gonna pass away.
Okay.
So she said something like, "Yeah, I'm like, what I'm well, but I'm." She said, I'm doing, I'm something in the fact that she knew she was royally screwed. She like, yeah, I'm doing very well, but I know I'm screwed. Like, but
Oh, gotcha.
I'm putting it in a nice way. But yeah, she just, and we just all started breaking. We just started laughing because of the whole situation. Because even in her deathbed, she still had her sense of humor. So
I love that.
to be able to to relive that moment, because that's one of the that's one of the memorable moments for me because of the whole situation.
Yeah.
She knew she was passing away, and she still had it in that time and moment to really just make us feel at ease to
Hmm.
realize, yeah, so you're gonna overcome this as well. So let's just
Yeah.
laugh.
I hope I keep my sense of humor too. I really hope I do. So I have to answer the question too, and I've been sitting here struggling because there's so many days I would love to relive. If I had to pick just one, it was actually a year ago today because it just popped up on my time feed thing on my Facebook that my husband and I'd never been to Europe before. We went to London and Ireland last year, and a year ago today we had like it was our last day in London. And we just found like the most random weird places. And it was so much fun. And like the last thing we did at night was we found this bar that had all these like weird nooks and like themed little places you could go sit. And they had a tree house and we went up in the tree house and it was just like I never would have done this without him. I'm a nervous person. I never would travel and do all the crazy things I do without him. And it just like what a day that the two of us had that we saw all these random things I never would have seen. I don't know. Maybe that's one.
That's great. I have something similar to that. Because my
Yeah.
wife, like, she likes to travel, and before I got with my wife, I didn't have my passport, and this is one of the things that I tell her. This is what kind of made me fall in love with her. Was she asked me, she's like, "Well, do you have your passport?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't have it." And she goes, "Well, we're gonna have to fix that because I like to travel, and so basically, if we're gonna be together, you need your passport because we need."
Mhm.
And so I've been blessed that we've been able to go to the Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Aruba, Jamaica, and so I'm instant. So without her, I don't think I would have ever
Hmm.
gotten a passport. So that's for me is also another special moment.
Yay. Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I want to give you a moment here. Please tell my listeners where they can find you, your podcast, and anything else you would like to share.
You can catch my podcast, Stuck in My Mind podcast all major platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. YouTube is Stuck in My Mind podcast. You can go check out my website at realwizeglobal.com. Um, that's about it, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And I'll put links to that in the descriptions too. So if you didn't catch it, you can just click away to your heart's content. Well, thank you so much for being on my show and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time and your openness to sharing your stories of loss with my listeners.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love this. And like I said, you have to come be a guest on my show now. So we'll
All right.
definitely got to work something out to have you on. I love collaborating with fellow podcasters. So
Yeah.
if I get to swap an interview, I think every podcaster should do that. Like if you're a guest on someone's podcast,
Yep.
come on your podcast.
Totally agree.
It's only right. It's only right that
Yeah.
your audience gets to experience their greatness as well. So yeah,
I absolutely agree. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
thank you.
All right. Another huge shout out and thank you so much to Will for being on my show. You can find Will and his podcast and all of his information. I put links down in the description. Please go check him out. Go check out his stuff. He is just a lovely, beautiful human being. And I hope you have the honor of speaking to him one day like I did. Again, if you want to help support me in this show, you can do it by going to patreon.com/NikkiTheDeathDoula. If you don't want to do all that and you're like, I'm too lazy for that, Nikki, I just don't have the time in my life, that's okay. One great quick way it'll take you like not even 30 seconds to support this show is to leave me a rating and a little review on either Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening to it. Go give me a 5-star rating. On Apple Podcasts, put a couple sentences in on why you like this show and why you think I'm amazing. And that'll help boost me up in the algorithm so more people can find me and more people can feel a little less alone in their grief. So that is all this week. Oh, if you have a story you would like to share, please, you can find me at NikkiTheDeathDoula.com. There's a page on my website that go to the top. There's a little thing that says podcast. You can go there. You get information on this show, my guests, their materials, things like that. You can get all that there. You can also reach out to me if you have a story you would like to share on this podcast. Please do so. And I would love to have a conversation with you and get you out here to share your story as well. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, your grief is yours. Your feelings are valid. Grief doesn't always have to suck. Good Grief with Nikki the Death Doula is produced by Nikki Smith of Nikki the Death Doula LLC in Columbus, Ohio. Nikki the Death Doula LLC is for consulting, education, emotional support, and guidance, and is no way considered a funeral establishment or licensed mental health establishment. Scripts, editing, sound design, literally everything with this podcast is done solely by Nikki Smith of Nikki the Death Doula LLC, with the exception of the music. The music is Cheery Monday by Kevin MacLeod. Licensing information can be found at filmmusic.io.